After indulging in a state of complacency, I unexpectedly gained overnight fame. As the goddess of prophecy, I found myself inhabiting the body of a once prominent actress. My agency compelled me to participate in a wilderness reality show, where a certain little green tea enthusiast attempted to showcase her knowledge in an effort to undermine me. Casting a glance at the clear azure sky, I began to prophesy. In 10 seconds, a fierce hailstorm shall descend. The green tea sought to ridicule me, only to be struck on the head by hail the very next moment. Look at the cirrus clouds on the horizon. The weather will undoubtedly be splendid for the next couple of days. We can ascend the mountain with complete assurance, Lu Chichi declared, gesturing towards the sky. With an air of gravitas, she uttered these words, then feigned casualness as she flashed a smile at the concealed mini-camera nestled in the bushes. This elicited applause and cheers from the 3 male entertainers present. The comments section erupted instantaneously. Our goddess Chichi is truly remarkable. Indeed, she possesses such profound knowledge. Absolutely splendid. I just checked the weather, and lo and behold, it aligns perfectly with what Chichi said. She is simply extraordinary. My idol has never erred. I must support my Chichi wholeheartedly. Chichi excels in her craft, is genuinely kind-hearted, and displays impeccable manners, so much more admirable than that brooding, wastrel Lin Ro. I concur. I share the sentiments of the previous commenter. I truly despise Lin Ro. She must have leveraged her connections to seize this opportunity. Otherwise, what merit does she have to be on this show? If it weren't for the chance to see my Chichi and Hu Tian, I would have no desire to gaze upon Lin Ro's delicate face. Alas, I am but a humble character. Indeed, I am that brooding wastrel, Lin Ro. At this moment, confronted with the adoration for Lu Chichi in the comments, I felt an overwhelming desire to voice my thoughts. Is it not possible that someone might glance at the weather forecast prior to appearing on the show? Considering the advancements of modern technology, checking the next day's weather should be a trivial endeavor. Why, then, does it seem so exaggerated in the eyes of the fans? It truly gives me a headache. As one of the only 2 female participants in this wilderness reality show, after Lu Chichi paraded her so-called expertise, she turned her attention towards me. Why has Ro not uttered a single word? Does she believe my statements to be incorrect? Lu Chichi has always been adept at feigning innocence before the camera. Undermining me while elevating herself has consistently been her preferred tactic. This time, I participated in a wilderness reality live broadcast show featuring 5 artists. Lu Chichi and I are the 2 female participants, while the remaining trio consists of the popular young idol Gui, the singer Hu Tian, and the host Timing. In a small team with 2 girls, one would expect either a remarkably harmonious relationship or a fierce rivalry. Evidently, we find ourselves in the latter scenario. Lu Chichi intends to showcase her intellect to highlight my shortcomings, subsequently leveraging the live show to amass a following of casual viewers. After all, I am a once celebrated actress who now prefers silence over speech. Noticing my continued reticence, Lu Chichi remarked, I'm quite easy to get along with if you have any insights. Please share. Her words dripped with feigned humility, suggesting that the moment I voiced any dissent, the entire nation would rally against me. The barrage of comments flooding the screen was unrelenting, and without exception, they all condemned me. Lin Ro is utterly impolite. Exactly. My Chichi is so humbly seeking advice. Yet she remains silent. Is she looking down on my Chichi? Wretched woman Lin Ro. Hurry and leave the entertainment industry. All she does is slouch around and feign melancholy without speaking. She used to be a chatterbox, clearly aware that she can no longer captivate audiences, hence attempting to reinvent her persona. Alas, I have seen through you. Indeed, she used to be quite loquacious. She must be desperate for attention, disregarding her reputation. I couldn't help but roll my eyes, mentally retorting against them all. Faced with Lu Chichi's audaciousness, I found myself oscillating between speaking up and remaining silent. Seizing the moment, Lu Chichi sighed dramatically, appearing pitiful as she said, I must have done something wrong to upset Ro. Goodness, what a quintessential green tea act. Regrettably, it seemed the audience was blind to her antics. The male contestants, indignant on her behalf, rallied around Lu Chichi, with Gui even chastising me. Lin Ro, we are all here to participate in this show. You haven't uttered a single word. When Chichi speaks to you, you ignore her. Do you think we are unworthy of sharing the stage with you? Except for Hu Tian, the other 2 male contestants joined Lu Chichi in condemning me. Since the beginning of the show, aside from my brief introduction, I had not spoken a word. The former Lin Ro was a notorious chatterbox. prone to spilling secrets and thus attracting the attention of gossip journalists, which led to offending industry insiders and losing resources, resulting in my current dire reputation. Consequently, both my fellow contestants and the audience believed I was deliberately maintaining an air of aloofness, adorned with a touch of melancholy, to craft an attention-grabbing persona and attempt to come back. As their vitriol escalated, I, normally known for my fiery temperament, found my patience waning. I parted the crowd and approached Lu Qiqi. Do you assert that the weather has been sunny these past few days? If she was intent on flaunting her so-called expertise, I would let her experience the power of a stinging rebuttal, for I am indeed the harbinger of prophecies. Lu Qiqi nodded confidently, her expression resolute. Of course. Or, do you have a different opinion, Roro? Everyone deserves a chance to speak. Even if you are mistaken, it's all right. She pretended to be understanding, contrasting my supposed aloofness. The weather forecast was a fixed matter. Whatever dissent I expressed, or even if I played along with her narrative, I would be met with scorn. That was Lu Qiqi's true intention. I pointed towards the clouds, my demeanor serious as I stated, I believe the weather is rather poor. In 10 seconds, hail will fall. Be cautious, Qiqi. Being struck by hail could be quite unfortunate. Lu Qiqi couldn't help but chuckle, showcasing her expertise once more. When cumulus clouds appear, it is certain that I paid little attention to her words, finding them grating to my ears. Internally, I began counting down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just as she finished her sentence, a sudden clap of thunder echoed from the horizon. Amidst the audience's bewildered gazes, I swiftly took refuge in a makeshift pavilion, while Lu Qiqi was struck directly by a hailstone. The other contestants, unable to evade the onslaught, also suffered from the icy barrage. The scene unfolded comically, with Lu Qiqi seemingly dazed, standing still in disbelief as hail struck her multiple times. Fortunately, she did not bleed, though a small bump formed, concealed by her hair. The hailstorm arrived with ferocity. Nonetheless, the live broadcast of the Wilderness Survival Show would not cease. Regardless of any unforeseen circumstances, we were left to fend for ourselves, which was the essence of the program's appeal. As the large hailstones fell, the others hurriedly shielded their heads and scurried into the pavilion. And Lu Qiqi finally grasped the situation, rushing inside as well. I stood there, raising my hands in a gesture of surrender. See? I told you so. As the harbinger of prophecies, I had once spoken too much, leading to the incessant fulfillment of my predictions, disrupting the order of the mortal realm, resulting in my expulsion. I found myself incarnated in the form of this fated starlet, Lin Ro, who was also a notorious chatterbox, sharing a kindred spirit with me. With a heart ablaze for gossip, she had inadvertently revealed a powerful secret of a prominent figure, leading to her downfall and subsequent banishment, only to be released after 3 long years. However, time had rendered Lin Ro obsolete, while Lu Qiqi, who had risen to prominence by stepping on Lin Ro's back, had become a celebrated star with her angelic appearance. Thus, she continually sought to belittle me on the show. Now, inhabiting Lin Ro's persona, I wielded the power of prophecy, with each utterance potentially altering destinies. My previous experience taught me to remain silent, lest I disrupt the fates of others again. Lu Qiqi had exploited my silence to accuse me of adopting a high-cold persona for attention. From the outset of the Wilderness Survival Show, Lu Qiqi had relentlessly disparaged me, attempting to revive her old tactics to elevate herself at my expense, resulting in a screen filled with insults directed at me. After enduring nearly 20 minutes, I finally uttered my first prophecy. Hail, a mere minor lesson. After all, I am not one to be trifled with. Confronted by the sudden hailstorm, Lu Qiqi's expression was one of sheer disbelief. The comments flooding the screen were equally entertaining. Where are those who praised Lu Qiqi's professional knowledge earlier? This shouldn't be. I checked my phone just half an hour ago, and it indicated clear skies for the next few days. Are you implying that Lu Qiqi lacks genuine expertise and merely prepared in advance? Don't you find Lin Ro somewhat intriguing? Indeed. She hardly speaks. Yet the moment she mentions hail, it starts pouring. She's more accurate than a crow's beak. Why don't you mention that he might be a prophet? It's not impossible. What if Lin Ro is indeed a prophetic deity? That's hilarious. It must just be an unusual weather phenomenon. Our Qiqi couldn't he discern it? Which is simply unfortunate. The barrage of comments continued to criticize Lu Qiqi while simultaneously disparaging me. As a deity of prophecy, aside from my prophetic abilities, I possess the extraordinary power to observe the witty comments of viewers watching the live stream. Faced with those remarks, I couldn't help but internally scoff. Am I truly a harbinger of misfortune? Clearly, it is the voice of prophecy. They simply lack discernment. However, since I was currently in the midst of a live broadcast, striving to earn a living in this world, I resolved to complete the variety show diligently. As for why I didn't simply predict the lottery, if one is excessively greedy, heaven will indeed mete out punishment. I am a perfect example of that. Shortly after the hailstorm commenced, it ceased within approximately 10 minutes, promptly giving way to clear skies. What had begun as a mere offhand remark, in light of such defiant and unscientific weather, was best kept brief. Lu Chichi, who had initially been caught off guard, wore an increasingly sour expression throughout those 10 minutes, remaining utterly silent. Yet, as the skies cleared, she suddenly burst into laughter. That was merely a fluke. Now look, it's clear and sunny again. Upon saying this, she stubbornly turned her gaze towards me. Ro, do you think it will hail again? I fixated on the bruise forming on her forehead, choosing silence. Lu Chichi's arrogance swelled further. She wrapped her arm around mine, smiling sweetly. Ro, why are you so quiet? We used to be the best of friends. Friends? Hardly. She stepped on Lin Ro to elevate herself and now sought to showcase our sisterly bond in this live variety show, using me as a backdrop to highlight her understanding. As if we could be friends. Thus, I tugged at her hand and remarked, it might hail again soon. In the face of such splendid weather, Lu Chichi dismissed the previous occurrence as a mere accident, firmly believing that such bizarre weather would not repeat itself unless my mouth had genuinely been touched by divine grace. How could that be? Let us hurry along. After all, the task is daunting. If you're tired, we can certainly adjust our pace for you. Without a doubt, the barrage of comments was once again berating me. Lin Ro is just lazy, right? Wanting to earn money without putting in the effort. Who gave her such audacity? Shameless. Utterly unprofessional. She should just quit the entertainment industry. Lu Chichi is so nice, willingly cooperating with Lin Ro. That's just too sweet. I regarded Lu Chichi, who wore an expression of smug satisfaction, and earnestly proposed, shall we make a wager? What shall we bet on? Let us wager whether it will hail again within 2 minutes. I stated my challenge with utmost conviction, causing her to hesitate for a moment. Are you afraid? I endeavored to keep my words minimal, fearing I might inadvertently utter another prophecy. What do I have to be afraid of? Lu Chichi's face flushed with indignation, her competitive spirit ignited by my provocation. Then we began to count down together. As we reached the 30-second mark, Lu Chichi flashed me a defiant smile, turning her back to the camera. With weather this fine, how could it possibly hail again? The comments were relentless. Exactly, the weather is splendid. Lin Ro is just trying to steal the spotlight. How shameless. If it hails again in half a minute, Lin Ro will truly be something else. I actually want to see that happen. As the countdown approached 5 seconds, Lu Chichi stepped out from the pavilion, waving to the 3 male entertainers. Time is of the essence. Let us not waste it on such a trivial game. With a resounding bang, hail once again pelted down, even larger than before. Lu Chichi was struck on the head once more, causing her to stagger. After 3 seconds of stunned silence, the comments erupted in chaos. Is this really happening? She said it would hail in 2 minutes. Has Lin Ro been touched by divine grace? Not just touched, she is practically a prophet. The improbable weather she casually mentioned has come to fruition. Please, Lin Ro, tell me the lottery numbers for the next draw. As Lu Chichi was struck again, she faltered and collapsed to the ground, her vision fading to black as she lost consciousness. It had only been half an hour since the show began, and Lu Chichi had been knocked out by hail in front of a multitude of viewers. Gui pressed on her acupoint, and half a minute later, Lu Chichi regained consciousness. The production team was somewhat flustered, but ultimately, this was an adventure survival show, no matter the situation, as long as it didn't endanger life. The production team could not intervene. Observing that Lu Chichi had awakened, the eager production team promptly retreated behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the comments continued to flood in. And with my prophetic abilities, I had foreseen this moment before the show aired. Thus, regardless of what the comments stated, I was immediately aware. What on earth is wrong with the weather, having hailed twice in succession? Why are you all concerned about the weather? Shouldn't you be focusing on Lin Ro and Lu Chichi's wager? This is nothing short of miraculous. Whatever she says comes to pass. Can she please tell me the lottery numbers for the next draw? It is a lovely thought. If I could predict the lottery numbers, would I need to endure this arduous variety show to support myself? An hour into the program, I found myself trending for the second time in my life. The first was years ago when I was the subject of widespread disdain. This time, however, the attention revolved around my prophetic abilities. The consecutive hailstorms had garnered significant interest, with many commenters pleading for me to predict their futures, predominantly requesting the lottery numbers. The show pressed on. Lu Qiqi seemed increasingly disinclined to engage with me, perhaps due to the trials my repeated predictions had caused her. Or perhaps she was secretly plotting some other scheme against me. In any case, her glances were rife with discontent. In this outdoor adventure, many tasks necessitated our direct involvement. Consequently, we needed to traverse a mountain peak. However, the dense underbrush soon led us astray. As I surveyed the towering trees and overgrown foliage, host Himing couldn't help but frown. How on earth are we supposed to get out of here? No worries, our Qiqi sister is quite capable. She will surely know how to survive here. The always sweet-talking, like hugging rising star Gu-yi unabashedly clung to Lu Qiqi for support in front of the cameras. Hearing Gu-yi's words, Himing seemed somewhat swayed. He was, after all, a mediocre host who had joined this outdoor reality show to boost his visibility. Yet it was evident that he had come unprepared and was now at a loss. I watched as the three of them huddled together, while the remaining singer, Hu Tian, unexpectedly approached me. That was quite surprising. Sister Lin Ro, may I accompany you? Hu Tian, a child star who had debuted as a singer, had been navigating the entertainment industry for years, yet was still only 18, the perfect age for college. Calling out sister with every breath sounds both obedient and comforting. Her smile is simply enchanting. Unable to resist, I reached out and ruffled her hair. All right, sister will protect you. Initially, I merely found her adorable. To my surprise, just the light touch of my hand on her head triggered an avalanche of comments. Lin Ro, quickly remove your paw from my son's head. I thought you joined this show to gain popularity, but it turns out you want to lay hands on my son. How despicable. I can tolerate Lin Ro's green tea persona, but I absolutely cannot allow her to lay a finger on my precious darling. I don't care anymore. I want to possess Lin Ro's soul. No way. I'm first in line. I am the first. The barrage of comments swirled past, straining my eyes. It seems everyone considers Hu Tian their son. The five of us divided into two small groups. Lu Qiqi chose me over Hu Tian, which left her somewhat miffed. She shot me a glare off camera before launching into a display of her expertise, which I could hardly comprehend. After all, I am merely an unremarkable oracle, my sole ability being to predict for others. Hence, I paid little attention to what Lu Qiqi was saying, finding it rather drowsy instead. I leaned against a tree, beginning to feel sleepy, while the others listened intently. Gu-yi even pulled out a notebook from his bag, ready to take notes, showcasing his studious demeanor. The comments at this moment praised him. What a diligent student. Not only does he act beautifully, but he's also so serious, taking notes for a show. Unlike some others, even as I lay there, I couldn't help but interject when they finally finished speaking. After all that, have we decided which direction to take? Before us lay three divergent paths. Stuck in indecision, Lu Qiqi began a lengthy analysis. She pointed to the leftmost path and earnestly stated, taking this route will surely lead us out. At the very least, the ecological environment in this direction is preferable. We can rest there tonight. As soon as she finished, Gu-yi immediately applauded her, showering her with compliments, while Himing echoed his agreement. I remained silent, standing beside Hu Tian, who, perhaps due to his youth, seemed bored and played with a blade of grass. Yet, there would always be someone who found me bothersome. Lu Qiqi would not let go of any opportunity to mock me, thus she began to solicit my opinion, completely disregarding previous lessons learned. Beneath the fringe of her bangs lay the consequences of her youthful arrogance. Lin Ro, do you think I'm right? I wondered if she had any awareness of the truth. Did she really need me to say it? Naturally, I couldn't voice that in front of the camera, so I offered a supportive nod. Unfortunately, she refused to let me off the hook, sighing theatrically. I don't even know if remembering these things will be of any use, if I lead everyone astray. It'll be my fault. Such a beautifully crafted statement. If she successfully guided us, she would be lauded. However, should we go the wrong way? With that statement as a pretext, no one would dare blame her. It's no wonder she has thrived in the entertainment industry for so long. I felt I could learn a thing or two from her. Sister Qiqi, you're so impressive. The path you choose must be correct. Lin Ro is not very talkative. Even if she harbors other thoughts, she likely doesn't wish to share them with us. Why should we press her? Oh my. Initially, I thought this show featured only Lu Qiqi as the little green tea. Little did I anticipate that there would also be a male counterpart. Gu-yi looked at me with a face that resembled someone I had wronged in the past. Himing, however, maintained a semblance of politeness. while the little angel Hu Tian smiled brightly upon seeing me, exuding innocence. As the two directed their attention toward me, I sighed. Ultimately, someone would have to take the plunge. So, I pointed to the path chosen by Lu Qiqi and said earnestly, given the recent weather, that route might be flooded by the small river along the way. We'll have to wade through it, and since we haven't brought extra clothes, that path is not feasible. Did I not think that route was good? I merely wanted them to face the consequences of their choices, as the discomfort would not be mine to bear. To my surprise, Lu Qiqi burst into laughter. Lin Ro, I know you don't understand these professional insights, but that is all right. The terrain here is quite familiar, and this path is indeed the best choice. Following me will surely lead you right. Exactly. After being silent for so long, why must you deliberately go against Sister Qiqi when she has thoughtfully chosen the path for us? Gu Yi, her little lackey, quickly chimed in, his sycophancy glaringly apparent. Even Hu Tian, who had been playing with grass, could not suppress a chuckle. I turned to him. Hu Tian, remember to be an honest child who does not betray his conscience. A clear smile appeared on Hu Tian's youthful face, and he obediently acknowledged my words. Meanwhile, Gu Yi, whom I had subtly ridiculed, wore a grim expression. However, as a small team, we had to make a choice at this fork in the road. In that case, let us vote on which path to take, Lu Qiqi proposed, believing she had suggested the most equitable method. Gu Yi promptly echoed her. The outcome was unsurprising, 3-2. Hu Tian and I exchanged glances and followed the other three down the rightmost path. As we walked, Lu Qiqi began discussing the vegetation along the way, demonstrating a hint of expertise. Yet, her knowledge was superficial. Anyone who had surveyed the mountain before the show could easily recount a few details. For those ardent fans, that was sufficient. The comments flooded in, extolling Lu Qiqi. What a divine actress, so well-versed in this knowledge. Indeed, I happened to be studying this vegetation, and she named them all correctly. Although she made a couple of mistakes, it's truly impressive. My darling is simply the best. Naturally, there were dissenting voices as well. Is this really worthy of such praise? There are only a few types of vegetation on this mountain. With a little effort before the show, anyone would know. Of course, such comments were quickly drowned out. I seriously suspected Lu Qiqi had hired bots to boost her reputation. After continuing for about half an hour, we were abruptly halted by a small river blocking the path ahead. It seemed the water level had risen, flooding the lower areas and completely obstructing our way forward. To cross, we would have to wade through it, the depth of which was uncertain, posing potential danger. Clearly, this route was impassable. Lu Qiqi's face turned pale. I watched as she discreetly turned away from the camera, seemingly fiddling with something in her arms. It's all right. This area is inherently complex. Sister Qiqi has done remarkably well. My flattery left her momentarily dazed. Gu Yi, in pursuit of his meager popularity, huddled close to Lu Qiqi, persistently encouraging her. Yet, with each word, he inadvertently reminded her of her erroneous choice. I observed Lu Qiqi's expression darkening with each passing moment. The comments began to fall silent. To think that there is indeed a river. At this moment, I found myself at a loss for words. Just moments ago, I had held Lu Qiqi in high regard. And now my face stung with embarrassment. It's merely a matter of choosing the wrong path, right? My dear Qiqi is still remarkable. You simply do not understand. Did no one notice that Lin Ro had made a prophetic statement? She previously claimed it would hail, and such extraordinary weather has truly manifested, along with her casual remark about being swallowed by the river. It's just luck. Having taken a wrong turn, we had no choice but to retrace our steps. On the way back, Lu Qiqi didn't utter a single word. After much effort, we finally returned to our starting point. So which path shall we take next? He Ming asked, taking a sip from his water bottle, appearing somewhat fatigued. I too felt weary. Just as I was about to sit down and rest, the little angel Hu Tian hurriedly retrieved water from his backpack and offered it to me. Sister Lin Ro, drink some water. Although he was merely 4 or 5 years my junior, he was indeed a little angel. I took the water and hastily drank a sip, unwilling to continue the ordeal. I pointed to the left path and declared, this one will undoubtedly lead us through. I am the oracle. If I assert that this path is clear, then even the tiniest stone or ant must yield to me. Yet someone insisted on opposing me. Lu Qiqi swiftly interjected, pointing to the middle path. I believe it should be this one. I don't care what you think. I want my own judgment. I retorted without hesitation. The barrage of comments resumed, chastising me for my perceived arrogance. However, Lu Qiqi was determined to oppose me and initiated a childish voting process, seemingly the fairest option, but clearly aimed at undermining me. Thus, we embarked on yet another wrong path, and halfway through, we encountered a large tree obstructing our way, surrounded by a thicket of thorns. To proceed would likely result in scratches and, worse, injuries to our faces. However, as an artist, my face is my fortune. Without waiting for my input, Lu Qiqi decisively stepped back. No matter how much she might bicker with me, she would never jeopardize her own visage. An hour passed in silence as the five of us remained motionless. Exhaustion hung heavily in the air. A shift in the commentary began to emerge. I'm truly exasperated. Every time it's a voting mode. It's obvious that Gu Yi and He Ming are siding with Lu Qiqi, deliberately isolating Lin Ro. To the one above. Do you have some sort of issue? My Qiqi is beautiful and kind-hearted, unlike the scheming Lin Ro. I can't stop laughing. 3 paths. And Lu Qiqi has chosen incorrectly twice in a row, while Lin Ro pointed out the right path from the start. Yet no one believed her and even scolded her? I, a mere bystander, cannot stand it. I too find it hard to bear. Lin Ro has said little in this program and has done nothing wrong, right? The comments polarized, and to my surprise, someone started to speak up for me. In the midst of the afternoon, we faced a rather grim predicament. At the program's inception, we were provided with no food, meaning we had to find something to satiate our hunger ourselves. This was no trivial matter. Many artists hesitated to participate in this program due to the inevitable hardships involved, especially concerning meal provisions, as the food is often unpalatable. Lu Qiqi was the first to rise, perhaps aware of her 2 previous missteps, eager to redeem herself by finding food. It's all my fault for leading everyone astray. I'll go find something to eat. Though she said this, there was no way I would allow her to venture off alone. We paired off as before, and I roamed the vicinity with Hu Tian. Is there anything you wish to eat? I asked, glancing up at him. The 18-year-old boy had refined features, still holding a hint of youthfulness, but once he matured, he would undoubtedly be devastatingly handsome. Taken aback by my query, Hu Tian surveyed the complex surroundings and casually remarked, "If only there were wild fruits here." I nodded. Then there must be wild fruits. Hu Tian took my words as jest, chuckling before resuming his search nearby. Just as he turned a corner, he spotted a fruit-bearing tree. Although the fruits were few and far between, they were sufficient to satisfy our hunger. Look, there are indeed fruits. Hu Tian exclaimed excitedly, quickly picking the wild fruits. Sister, you're amazing. The little angel complimented me, causing a flush to rise to my cheeks. It's you who's remarkable for finding the fruits. Hu Tian shook his head, his voice melodious as he spoke. Sister is truly impressive. Whatever you say is what it is. I refrained from further conversation, fearing it might reveal my identity as the oracle, and returned to our original spot with him. At this time, Lu Qiqi had also discovered some wild vegetables. Let us blanch these wild vegetables. I even brought some seasoning, so it should be edible. While the taste might be unremarkable, in the absence of food, this was already quite commendable. The wild fruits were nestled in Hu Tian's pocket, so when we returned, our hands were empty. Upon seeing that I had found nothing, Lu Qiqi burst into laughter. Lin Ro, it's alright if you didn't find anything to eat. I harvested extra wild vegetables and can share half with you. The sycophantic Gu Yi swiftly chimed in, Sister Qiqi, you're so kind. We struggled to find those wild vegetables, and you're willing to share half with someone else. We are all part of the same team, after all. We must support one another. The two engaged in a duet, attempting to garner favor. Yet Hu Tian and I remained silent, exchanging a glance before he pulled the wild fruits from his pocket. Would you like some? The moment Lu Qiqi laid eyes on the fruits, her expression shifted dramatically. After all, finding a few wild fruits in such a place was indeed rare. The wild vegetables were bitter, merely serving to stave off hunger. But the fruits were different, sweet and tangy, a veritable delicacy in this environment. I wonder if these fruits are toxic. I think I'll stick with the wild vegetables. Lu Qiqi waved the wild vegetables in her hand. Gu Yi, who initially reached out for the fruits, silently withdrew his hand. Observing their exchange, I chose to ignore them and instead offered one of the fruits to He Ming. Would you like one? Having picked an ample supply, I could easily afford to share with one more person. He Ming hesitated momentarily, but ultimately accepted the fruit. Thank you, Lin Ro. I nodded, then joined Hu Tian in nibbling on the fruit. This time, no one voiced any objections. Our path was smooth and unobstructed. Had we not encountered 2 successive wrong turns earlier, we might have exited before nightfall. As dusk settled, Hu Tian joined Gu Yi and the others in setting up tents. Among the 5 of us, 2 tents meant I was destined to share one with Lu Qiqi. During dinner preparation, Lu Qiqi, with Gu Yi in tow, found several wild fruits and made sure to boast before me. Lin Ro, I see you didn't find anything. Would you like me to share some with you? I couldn't be bothered to respond and simply took my little angel Hu Tian to search for food nearby. With my prophetic abilities guiding us, we were sure to succeed. Soon, I stumbled upon several sweet potatoes in a patch of land. Hu Tian, let us return and roast these sweet potatoes. I waved the plump, vibrant sweet potato in my hand, envisioning the delightful aroma and softness that would accompany its warmth once roasted. Consuming such a treat in the evening would surely warm the stomach. Thus, when Lu Qiqi once again beheld me brandishing the sweet potatoes, the smile on her face nearly faltered. Lin Ro, you are truly fortunate. You seem to find food wherever you go, unlike me. Hu Tian could not help but face-bomb at her outrageous claim. Meanwhile, the barrage of comments began to shift subtly. From a bystander's perspective, I believe Lin Ro's luck is simply extraordinary. Is this what they call a coy physique? She's like a deity of prophecy incarnate. It's remarkable. Foraging for wild fruits at noon and discovering sweet potatoes by night. The original intention of this program was to stir up trouble, yet it seems Lin Ro is thriving. Her talent for finding things is unparalleled. Though she speaks little, her efficiency is astonishing. Indeed. The comments had normalized considerably this time. They even began to speculate on my true identity. I felt a sense of solace. As I entered the tent to sleep, there were no cameras present. Consequently, when Lu Qiqi and I lay inside the tent, an awkward tension enveloped us. I had no intention of initiating conversation, yet someone could not resist the urge to provoke. Don't think you can turn your fortunes around with this show. I once managed to have you reviled across the internet. I can do it again. With no one around, Lu Qiqi spoke without hesitation, her pride evident as she recounted past events. She had used unscrupulous means to seize Lin Ro's role and then falsely accused Lin Ro of attempting to seduce the director, all in a bid to secure the lead position. The ensuing avalanche of scandal had ultimately benefited Lu Qiqi. Now, she sought to extract every last ounce of value. Truly ruthless. Very well, let's wait and see who emerges victorious. I remained unfazed. With that, I tucked myself under the covers and drifted into slumber. Engaging in a quarrel with such a person would merely squander my energy. The following morning, when I awoke, the bedding beside me had lost its warmth. Lu Qiqi had risen at some point. A glance at my watch revealed it was only 7 o'clock. Upon stepping out of the tent, I spotted Lu Qiqi and Gu Yi huddled together, whispering in hushed tones, their conversation inaudible even to the cameras. Although this was a live reality show, the cameras were temporarily disabled during the night and would only resume broadcasting at 7 in the morning. This implied that Lu Qiqi might have ventured elsewhere before the cameras resumed. Upon noticing my approach, Lu Qiqi immediately stood up. Today, we will likely be walking all day. So, I suggest we scavenge for food first. This way, we can save time while trekking. What do you think? Her demeanor was exceedingly gentle. Under the scrutiny of the cameras, I had no grounds to decline. Just as I nodded in agreement, Lu Qiqi pointed to a direction I had not explored the previous day. In that case, Lin Ro, you should head that way while I go the other way. If I had not realized her ulterior motives at that moment, I would not deserve to be considered a prophet. However, since she wished to play games, I was more than willing to accompany her. Very well. After saying this, I prepared to venture alone in that direction. Yet, before I could take more than a few steps, Hu Tian hurriedly caught up with me. May I accompany you? I nodded. With me around, I would certainly ensure his safety. After walking several hundred meters, the surroundings appeared tranquil and unremarkable, with no signs of anything amiss. Hu Tian was diligently searching for food. However, in the brief moment I turned my head, an alarming sound erupted behind me. Suddenly, I saw Hu Tian leaning back precariously. It was then that I realized behind him lay a steep slope, its surface bristling with thorns. Should he tumble down, the injuries would be severe, particularly for an actor, as it could easily mar his face. Hu Tian, I will catch you, I exclaimed swiftly, lunging forward just in time to grasp his hand. The weight of an adult male was indeed somewhat taxing for me at that moment. If I fall, it will only result in a few scratches. If you don't let go, Lin Ro, we will both tumble down together. Hu Tian lay prone on the slope, glancing downwards, attempting to break free from my grasp. Such a delicate and handsome young man, I could not allow him to be harmed. Moreover, this was likely a trap set by Lu Qiqi to ensnare me.
No.
I will certainly pull you up. The barrage of comments surged wildly. Is my dear son about to fall?
No, no.
The ground is covered in thorns. If he falls, he will sustain serious injuries. Lin Ro, please don't let go, or my son's face will be ruined. As a bystander, I must say Lin Ro's actions here are genuinely commendable. It appears that Lin Ro's wrist is bleeding, yet she refuses to release her grip. I declare I am now a fan. As long as you can protect my son, I will convert to a supporter.
Me too, me too.
With the blessing of my prophetic abilities, despite the difficulty, I managed to pull Hu Tian back up. However, my wrist had endured significant abrasion against the stones, now marked with blood. Once Hu Tian was safely back on solid ground, he immediately grasped my hand, his gaze fixated on the blood seeping from my wrist. His expression fraught with concern. It's nothing, I have medicine. Observing the young man's worry for me filled my heart with sweetness. Yet I did not forget Lu Qiqi's intentions. She had so eagerly wished for me to venture here, indicating she must have scouted the terrain early. Aware of the hidden slope's peril, a careless fall could lead to disfigurement, which was a truly terrifying prospect. Thus, I feigned casual conversation with Hu Tian, saying, I wonder how Qiqi is faring over there. This area has quite a few snakes, and if one appears, she will surely be terrified. When I returned to the camp with Hu Tian, I found Lu Qiqi in a state of disarray, stumbling back, her demeanor utterly defeated, her eyes vacant, as if she had encountered great fright. Gu Yi was in a similarly disheveled state. Seeing their condition, He Ming, who had remained at the camp, was equally taken aback. What happened to you both? I saw a snake chasing me. Lu Qiqi's voice cracked with evident distress, her composure crumbling. She was entirely oblivious to the camera capturing her breakdown. I added, Qiqi, you seem to be in a poor state. You might faint. Would you like to rest in the tent? My seemingly considerate words, however, rang with irony in her ears. After all, she had intended to ensnare me. Yet I had returned unscathed, while she was now a quivering mess after her encounter with a snake. Naturally, she would not heed my suggestion to retreat to the tent. This implied she was on the verge of fainting. 3 seconds later, Lu Qiqi collapsed entirely. As the live broadcast reached this point, the barrage of comments peaked. Has Lu Qiqi fainted from fright? Of course, my dear Qiqi is terrified of snakes at the mere thought of them. It's truly unfortunate this time. It's all Lin Ro's fault. What a jinx. I find it rather amusing, honestly. How can everything be attributed to Lin Ro? What has she done? All I saw was her saving Hu Tian from nearly tumbling down the slope. Exactly, as a fan of Hu Tian, I must stand by Lin Ro in this instance. She did nothing wrong. Why should Lu Qiqi's fainting be blamed on her? Why shouldn't it be? It's precisely because of her jinxing. Is someone upstairs joking? To hastily label her as a villain based on a couple of careless remarks seems rather rash. The barrage of comments continued unabated. The program came to an abrupt end due to Lu Qiqi's fainting, and she was rushed to the hospital. The show's popularity surged, even trending on numerous hot search lists, including one about her fainting and another regarding my repeated prophetic statements. Many netizens referred to me as a goddess of prophecy. Thanks to this live variety show, my previously low-profile status was on the verge of skyrocketing within the entertainment industry. Yet, I remained indifferent to it all. However, someone chose to disparage me on Weibo. I had originally intended to participate in the variety show peacefully, but I seemed to have unknowingly offended someone, leading to a string of misfortunes. Perhaps I was simply unlucky. I couldn't blame anyone else. The accusations were glaringly directed at me. Lu Qiqi's fans swiftly descended upon my comment section, demanding that I apologize to Lu Qiqi, who was recuperating in the hospital. Apologize? Did she deserve it? Nonetheless, I resolved to pay her a visit. Hu Tian offered to accompany me, as it was only natural for friends who had appeared on the show together to check in on one another. I arrived at the opulent hospital suite. Lu Qiqi lay on the bed, admiring her freshly done nails, her complexion rosy, showing no signs of weariness. Lin Ro, you've come, she said, glancing at me before turning her attention to Hu Tian. Hu Tian, dear brother, could you fetch me a bottle of hot water? Hu Tian looked at me, and I nodded in response. Suddenly, the room was left with just Lu Qiqi and me. You're quite lucky. That slope was very concealed. I nearly fell down myself. Yet you emerged unscathed. Perhaps it was the absence of others that allowed Lu Qiqi to brazenly reveal her schemes. Evildoers receive their due retribution. I advise you to be more virtuous. I once again invoked my prophetic abilities. If Lu Qiqi could realign her intentions, she might avoid significant trouble. However, should she harbor malice towards others, then she would face the consequences. Lu Qiqi, however, paid my words no heed and suddenly pointed to a cup on the cabinet. "Could you pass me a cup of water?" I raised an eyebrow and reached for the cup, but before it could reach her hands, Lu Qiqi abruptly lifted her hand and knocked it over. Scalding water splashed onto the blanket, some hitting her hand and some splattering onto my arm. Lu Qiqi cried out in pain. At that moment, the door swung open and several men with cameras rushed in. Having been in the entertainment industry for a few days, I recognized two paparazzi immediately. "Lin Ro, I know you dislike me, but surely you wouldn't want to ruin my face, would you?" Pouring scalding water on me. Had I not blocked it, I would never be able to work in the entertainment industry again. Lu Qiqi attempted to take the offensive, bursting into tears before the camera. I glanced at the cameras, noticing one of them was even live streaming. Quite the spectacle. Seeing me unfazed, Lu Qiqi quickly raised her scalded hand, where several areas were noticeably red and swollen. "We were clearly friends. Why would you treat me this way?" She wept, her tears flowing like rain. One of the paparazzi, seemingly a friend of Lu Qiqi's, immediately began to accuse me. "Such a venomous heart to want to ruin someone's face. This is punishable by law. I've recorded everything today, and I'm live streaming. I will show everyone your true colors." How utterly clueless. Once again, I activated my prophetic power. "Lu Qiqi, you will disclose the truth about everything that has transpired between us to the reporters, won't you?" Lu Qiqi nodded. "Of course." Then she wiped away her tears and began to articulate. "Years ago, I deliberately deceived you. I wanted to snatch your role and ensure you were vilified online. I even hired numerous trolls to attack you, preventing you from landing roles. Even in this program, I schemed against you. That thorny slope was designed for you. I just never expected your luck to be so great. But so what? I can still ruin you." Upon uttering these words, Lu Qiqi froze in shock. She quickly covered her mouth, but through my prophetic influence, she could not suppress the urge to pull out her phone. In front of the camera, she revealed evidence that could potentially destroy her. She proceeded to disclose every detail of how she had plotted against other female stars, including her accomplice Gu Yi, detailing their conspiracies against me in full clarity. After all was said and done, and my prophetic powers faded, Lu Qiqi slumped onto the hospital bed. The live stream comments were unprecedentedly lively. "What is happening? Is this a self-revelation? Had I not seen those screenshots and videos, I would never have believed Lu Qiqi could be so calculating. So I've been cursing the wrong person all these years?
And Gu Yi,
Who seems so innocent and harmless, turns out to be this vile. Good heavens, what transpired? Lu Qiqi has just confessed to her past deeds. How could she be so wicked? My heart aches for Lin Ro, who has done nothing wrong yet has been unjustly slandered. My sympathy lasts a second, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 minute. Lu Qiqi was thoroughly vilified across the internet. On her hospital bed, she had exposed her schemes against me, and with the accompanying videos and screenshots, she had left no room for defense. The stark contrast to her previous image as the nation's sweetheart was staggering, leading many fans to switch their allegiance to hatred. In the entertainment industry, Lu Qiqi could no longer remain. She realized this truth, her eyes devoid of color. Initially, I had not intended to take such drastic measures. After all, I am not truly Lin Ro, but rather a prophetic deity unencumbered by emotional attachments. Yet, trapped in this corporeal form, I found it increasingly intolerable to endure Lu Qiqi's repeated plots against me. I had granted her numerous opportunities, but she failed to cherish them. Thus, I could not be blamed for using my prophetic powers to compel her to expose herself, irrevocably ruining her career. I had no desire to linger in the hospital room any longer. As I turned to leave, Hu Tian entered, carrying a bottle of water. He immediately noticed the burns on my wrist, where the hot water had scalded me, leaving several blisters. "Sister Lin Ro, does it hurt?" Before I could respond, he grasped my hand and began to pull me outside. "Where are we going?" "To find a doctor to treat your burns." Hu Tian expressed his concern for my well-being. He insisted on escorting me home before he felt at ease. Then he remarked on my injured arm, claiming it made things inconvenient for me, and every morning, he would station himself right at my doorstep, clutching a large bag of fresh vegetables. With an air of familiarity, he would step inside my home and immediately begin preparing meals. I must say, Hu Tian's culinary skills are truly remarkable, to the extent that after indulging in his cooking just twice, I found myself utterly captivated by his dishes. Lin Ro Jia. Is there anything in particular you wish to eat today? In the face of such earnestness from this younger boy, I, despite my nonchalant demeanor, could still keenly sense something amiss. Some matters simply require a natural progression. As it turned out, my home became the subject of clandestine photography. The college freshman who Tion frequently visited Lin Ro's residence, and related topics once again surged to the trending list. Some even edited videos showcasing our interactions from a program, which inexplicably exuded warmth. Whispers circulated that we were already in a relationship. With a smile, Hu Tion brandished his phone, jesting, "The internet is full of nonsense. If I had a legitimate claim to be here with my sister, I would undoubtedly prepare her an array of delectable dishes every single day."
Ah.
The boy wielded food as a means to sway my heart. Gazing at the now-adult Hu Tion, I playfully poked his cheek. "How about I grant you a title of sorts?" At once, Hu Tion dropped his phone, wrapping his arms around my waist and gazing up at me. "You can't go back on your word, okay?" "Indeed, I won't retract my promise. I am, after all, the oracle. The words I utter are bound to materialize." The end of the tale. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and liking to show your support. Until we meet again in the next story.